Thank you for joining us for another episode of Infamous. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker. Go by One Who Parks on Discord.
And this is Aaron. I go by Treffinwood on Discord.
Quick announcement. We are officially splitting off our post-credit segment off of the MCP show, and so we'll have an MCP show that will be our normal about 1 hour of MCP content, and then we'll have our separate, what used to be called the pre-ramble or post-ramble after credit segment is going to be split off as its own episode. It'll gain a little bit more structure, and it'll be known as the Infamous Podcast. So we will be releasing those in the future. All right. So how are things going? You guys having a good time?
Stupendous.
Stupendous time.
Yes.
I've actually had it's been a really kind of bizarre week this week. Like the snow and like I basically went on 3 hours of sleep twice because I knew snow was coming. And so I woke up today at 11:30, which is, I know is a very Brandon thing to do, but it's not a very Parker thing to do. And so I've just had a very strange day. My feeling is good, like it's a good thing that I got sleep and I have a feeling it's going to be okay, but it's, it's just weird. It's not normal.
Cool. Yeah, I took Monday off, and so I just got some like random stuff done around the house and like some backlog project stuff. And then randomly I stayed up until 5:30 in the morning because I was just like, I was getting so much done. I was like, well, I shouldn't stop because I'm being so efficient with my time. And I do that a lot where I'm like, hey, I'm in this nice run where I'm getting all this shit knocked out. I was like, I'll just keep doing that for, I don't know, 10 more hours. And then I just realized that sun's up and I should probably go to sleep now. Mm-hmm. So I got 3 hours of sleep before work yesterday. It felt surprisingly good. And I kind of ran out of gas around 6 o'clock where I was like, I just don't have energy to do anything anymore. I wasn't like tired. I just didn't have energy. And so then today I...
Wait, what? Play that back. It's not that you were tired. You just didn't have
No, yeah,
energy.
like I wasn't sleepy at all. Like I rarely ever get sleepy, if at all. But it's just one of those, like, I just don't have motivation to do anything. It's how tiredness manifests in me at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll just be sitting there. It's like, yeah, I could like play video games or watch TV or something, but I'm at work, so like you can't. Mm-hmm. And so instead it's like, can I get motivated to do projects at work? And it's like, oh, maybe I'll just sit here and check emails. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and so today I woke up at 11. I was like, I don't have anything I need to do today, and all my prints are going to stop around 2 p.m., so I just went back to sleep. It was pretty nice.
Strong. I have reduced my playtime in Path of Exile to below an average of 10 hours a day in a 2-week look back. So that's good. Yay, life balance.
Yep, that's what they call that.
9.995. Hashtag winning, baby.
There you go. That's really the definition of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played Path in a few days. I got to what I'm told is the boss of Act 2. It's the weird sand guy on the, I guess he's lightning guy on the Dreadnought, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And so I fought that a bunch of times, and I keep getting to like the second act where you're off of it and you're fighting in the desert. Mm-hmm. And I just keep getting trapped by like random RNG like obstacles where it's like I'll get pinned in by 2 different portals shooting spikes at me, and then the tornadoes will just kind of randomly merge on top of me, and it's like there's nowhere for me to go without dying instantly. And so just like hoping it doesn't turn left, slowly moving, turns left, kills me. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so like that's the point where I get to where like the boss isn't killing me, it's the random ground effects that are just wandering are killing me. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, I could do this another 20 times until I just get the RNG right and it doesn't kill me. And then I was like, or I could go try and level, but like all of my quests are done, so like my leveling is just wandering around random zones killing monsters. And I was like, I think there's games I'd rather play. And so I just went back to playing the other games.
Sure.
I have not gotten that far into the game. I got really excited to play it, and then I got distracted by other games. So I'm real curious. Is this what you were describing, Aaron, about how the game might be a little too difficult at some points? Mm-hmm. Is it really just that, well, I can't get past this point because, my RNG. Like, it has nothing to do with my skill or my build and everything to do with this time. It wasn't beatable because...
Yeah, like the first
I don't know about
dozen times the boss kills me, it's because I didn't understand the interaction enough or I wasn't fast enough to avoid a skill shot. And so, like, it was 100% me dying. and because I wasn't good enough at the fight yet. But then I've gotten to the point where it's like I feel like I can beat it, and I have enough stats to do it, even though I'm on the low end, right? Like I clearly, if I was stronger, this would be a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that it was challenging; it was just annoying because I was basically just farming for RNG because I am trying to do it lower level than I should. But the other option is go randomly grind blind maps that are just like, and like I'm just not having fun doing that at this moment. So it's like I also like over the course of a week I grinded to like level 30 in my free time, and so like I don't know, it was fine. I'd say the lower levels were way more frustrating because it was just blindly wandering around.
Aaron, is that what you have to do? Is just increase your level until you're not one shot? Is that the idea?
Not necessarily. There's an element of truth, obviously huge truth to Brandon's point of view. You as a character at early level don't have options with how to deal with stuff. You can't go take these nodes to get better because you don't have the skill points to spend. Your drops and what you're using are the drops are hugely RNG dependent. Did you get a really good chest piece that's going to help you? Yes or no? If no, it's going to suck till you do. Or a weapon is really the biggest issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think players have less agency and ability to deal with the map bosses, which I honestly think are a little overtuned for the campaign at this point in the game. And we'll see if they decide to change it going forward. I mean, I died 20 to 30 times on some people while I was going through the campaign.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever was like hoping for a different RNG, hoping that I could dodge something a little better, right? Which is more learning the fight. But a lot of it's just your build too. Like I completely ignore tornadoes. Like I don't give a shit. I have high armor, and I did throughout the campaign, at least high for my level. And so it's ticking for small physical damage that just did nothing.
Yeah,
but other things that you could ignore, I had
not going to care. Yeah,
huge issues with. So every build's going to be different for every fight in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
and a lot of the boss fights have been really easy. Like they because a lot of them are like they damage people standing close to them. It's like, and I'm not doing that. So exactly like you're saying, they would give you a lot more trouble than they'd give me because he's just wandering around slamming the ground. I just roll away from him and shoot him, and so it's extremely easy. But yeah, it's just because like the things that the boss is doing, like he's throwing like targeted attacks at me or AoEs, or he's doing splash damage with effects. It's like those aren't killing me. It's just like the tornado traps me in a corner and I can't move. And it's like, okay, well, this is the only time that's ever happened. So clearly the tornado isn't following me. It's just wandering around, and I just got bad luck that I got stuck in that corner. Because there are AoEs going off that will kill me that I have to dodge away from, which puts me into the situation. So it's just like bad luck. But it's at my survivability, it's the opposite, right? I'm getting average luck. The problem is average luck means I die. I need good luck. And so I'm just grinding till I get good luck. It's not like I'm just getting unlucky. That's not true. Like I'm getting average, I think. It's just I need to get really good to get through the whole fight. And I'm getting him down to like 10% several times. And I can kill him, but I don't do enough damage to kill him before he kills me with just random bullshit piling up.
That's cool. I do like to know these things. That's why I asked the question, because when I get to that point in the game, and I think I will, probably this summer is when I'm going to dive in really hard. And when I do, I'm going to end up frustrated if I don't have an expectation about what's going on. So I am interested to know. Because I've heard from Aaron and others is that the game is great, but punishing to a certain extent. And generally, I do just fine with punishing games for some reason, like turn-based strategy games like XCOM, for example. Like I love cranking the difficulty of those games like way up, and my characters die super easy, and I have to like build them back up again. Like that doesn't bother me. But I have had games before, like Dark Souls, for example. I just instantly didn't like Dark Souls because I was like, I don't want to keep rolling left and right and left and left and left and right until I win. That's just so boring. That kind of patience isn't rewarded, at least to me. That's a gameplay loop I don't enjoy. So if you're telling me that there are things I can do to mitigate it, like build, but I won't have full access to everything till later, I think I have the patience for that. So we'll see.
Yeah, my perspective of frustration in the campaign has been that like you don't have the resources to make those choices at the point at which you're running into these early campaign bosses.
And so
you're fighting the desert boss guy, and you're like, cool, well, I can't decide to be more survivable. That's not an option. I can't use pets because they die instantly to the AoEs, and they can't damage them even if they didn't. And so like half of my class is completely irrelevant. Like the dots and the AoE ground effects I can put down do great damage over time, so that's fine. It's just that I need to stay alive long enough to kill him, and doing that through just getting lucky that the ground effects don't converge on me all at one time. That's just what it is. The obvious build pattern, I'm playing a witch right now, so the obvious build pattern for campaign leveling I think is supposed to be have pets and they just deal with all that shit for you because the pets are fighting the monsters, not you. And I did that for the early levels, and I don't know how well it progresses because I switched out of it pretty much immediately because I wanted to do fire damage. And so that's my build right now is all fire damage. And it's probably not great that I'm fighting a guy who does fire damage. I don't know if he has like a high resistance to it, but it seems like he's a lot tougher than the previous bosses.
Aaron, I'm sorry, you were going to say something when I mentioned that.
No, you're good. I don't remember what I was going to say.
I just said what I don't appreciate about games and why I might give up.
I remember what I said, or what I was going to say. I think the devs have a philosophy of they want people to achieve that end goal of feeling like a super character, if you will. And so they want you to grow into that. So the difficulty curve is what I think I'm going to call it inverted. Harder earlier on, and it gets easier as you get more abilities and tunes and your guy feels like a god.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure that's how you're supposed to get people interested in your game, is by making it super hard to begin with and then getting easier and easier. Like, the game just gets nothing but easier over the course of the entire time you're playing.
Yeah.
Because you keep unlocking new stuff and new synergies and new equipment. Anyways, that's what I was going to say, is I think it's purposely designed to have a difficulty curve that is such, whether you agree or disagree with that philosophy.
Yeah. I think the game is so far most comparable to Diablo 3 for me. And I played Diablo 3 mostly, but when it first came out, it's when it was bad. And I didn't like Diablo 3 because the disparity between regular mobs and elite mobs was just insane. It was like I could kill infinitely large piles of these dudes and they don't hurt me. One elite can randomly one-shot me. And you're like, okay, well, this is stupid power imbalance, right? And so I don't see that in Path of Exile, which is good. But the issue I have is that in, like you're saying, in the early game, it doesn't feel like you have the ability to make good choices. And obviously, if you don't have people explaining the game to you, it's very confusing. It's not well explained within the game mechanics itself. And part of that's probably due to its enclosed beta, and part of it is due to that it's supposed to be an advanced learning curve game. I didn't find the skill tree all that confusing, honestly. Everyone talks about how crazy the skill tree is. Like, obviously, building a maximized build at the final levels of the game, that would be difficult with so many choices available. But the part that's really confusing is the way your fucking skills work. And because they don't explain it super well. It's like, well, I need to get this skill. It's like, well, can I take it? What do I need to take it? Where do I get the resources to buy the skill? Because normally in like Diablo, you just get it from leveling, right? And so that's not true in this game. It's like it's locked behind levels, but you have to actually buy the skill. So yeah, I think overall I was very impressed with the customization of the skills and all the different support gems you could possibly put into your different skills. I thought that was really cool.
There are options.
There's only one thing that makes me sad so far when playing the game, and that is when I'm specifically looking at the skills and all the options, and I see all these ones that say "coming soon." I go, "Oh." All of that and I know the game's not finished, and I get that, and that's what I paid for. But it makes me really sad because all of those options, you know me, I love options. I love switching. I love playing different things, and so it is something that makes me sad that I'm just like, some of these look so cool. I want to know what they do.
I was incredibly impressed at how easy it is to change your skills around. Like, the fact that you don't lose progress for, like, swapping out skills is really cool. The whole UI with changing out skills and support gems and everything was really user-friendly. There's obviously a huge knowledge learning curve for, like, different support skills and how they combine with different skills. I think the biggest lesson I've learned from experimenting is that negative cast speed is probably the worst thing you can suffer. Because there's so many times recently that I've like canceled spells that I've been trying to cast because you increase something's cast time from 1 second to 1.25 seconds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot in combat. right? Because he's like, I'll just cast this and then I'll dodge, but then you end up having to dodge because the projectile's coming. And you have to get out of the way, which cuts off your spell casting, and so you lose the spell. And so you're like, instead of I still put in the full 1 second, but I got nothing out of it because it canceled it. And so I run myself into that a lot lately.
In other news,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay. In other news, I received my official invitation to join the U.S. National Blood Bowl team.
Nice.
For the 2025 Euro Bowl competition.
That's the one you guys did previously, right? The one you guys did pretty well in?
Yep. We took second last year. And so we will be competing in Budapest this fall.
I sent you positive vibes.
Thank you. I felt those.
I posted them in the Blood Bowl channel.
I also saw them and felt them.
Nice. Parker, did you see my positive vibes in the Blood Bowl channel?
Kenny tried to steal them.
I don't have the Blood Bowl channel. I don't subscribe to that channel.
Oof.
But you play Blood Bowl.
I know very well how to play Blood Bowl, but I will not play Blood Bowl, so I'm going to abstain from the Blood Bowl channel. I still care very much that you got it, though, Aaron. That is really cool. Not that there was any doubt. I had perfect confidence that you were going to get invited back.
There are some really good fucking coaches, so you should have.
Did you get the A spot?
He did not tell us in which spot we were invited to the team.
Nor
am I going to ask.
You should ask him. And very specifically, demand to be told or you'll leave. And then be told you're number 8 and be like, good.
I was 5th in the order in which he released the names. And they weren't alphabetically, so twiddle.
Were they alphabetically by teams you played, maybe?
No.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I remember this. I know what you played. Hold on. Shit. Chaos. Undivided. Yeah.
Correct.
Chosen.
Yep. 2 wins, 3 ties in the tryout tourney. Then I joined the Super League for North America, which is just some fancy best of the best league, whatever. And promptly lost my first game to a German coach playing vampires, because vampires are fucking stupid and I hate them.
I've heard vampires are the worst team in Blood Bowl for years.
Well, they used to be the worst. They used to be, but
I know, right?
You told me, Aaron's. But I can't remember now. What did they change about them to make them
everything
less trash? They're like completely new thing.
Yeah, there's positional vampires as opposed to just generics.
Yep.
You get less of them overall, but they have like skills.
You get the same amount overall.
Do you? No, you used to be able to take 6 vamps, I thought.
You can still take 6.
Do they still eat? Do they still eat their thralls or whatever? Or
they do eat their thralls. But when Blood Bowl 2020 was published, eating thralls was a 4-up.
Yeah.
It was fucking stupid. Now eating thralls is a 2-up, or not eating thralls, as it were.
Yeah. There's actually it's just printed in their skill what the negative roll is, so it's either a 2 or a 3. And then it's kind of like Wild Animal with the Minotaur, where it's a 4+ unless he's blocking, then it goes down to a 2+. It's similar because there's the fighty vampires want to throw blocks.
Yep.
So if you're blocking with them, it's a 2+. If you're wanting them to pass, it's a 3+ because they're aggressive.
Yeah.
But if you want them to just move, do you roll a 4+ still? Is that how it works?
No, because it's either a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So blocking gives you, before you activate, if you're blocking, you roll a 2.
Yes.
2+.
It's based on which character you're doing it on. They have different stats.
2 of the vampires need 3s. The other 4 need 2s no matter what.
Yeah, because those guys are blitzers, so they want to attack, right? They're like a wild animal.
You can take 4 vampire blitzers?
No, only 2. No. You can take 2 of them.
Nobody said that.
Oh, I see. I thought you said 4.
You're jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
I love it. So there's the blitzer, there's a runner, and there's a thrower. And then there's also the Vargeist, which is their big guy. And he's also Blood Frenzy 3-up. And so if you don't block with him, he's more likely to eat a thrall.
Yep.
Or fall down, I think it is. What is it, fall down?
No, eat a thrall, or you just
end turn.
You just end turn.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, it's fine, especially if it happens late in the turn.
So if you have a thrall...
Go ahead.
Hypnotic Gaze is fucking broken, though.
It is. It's fucking stupid.
Hypnotic Gaze has been in the game for a long time. Did they buff it or something?
No.
No, they just changed how good the vampires who have it are.
Yeah, because there's a runner who's speed 8 or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep.
So okay, So
I think they have dodge base. Is
wait, hold on. The runner is
No.
speed 8.
Yeah, he's moving.
Is he
Runner's
strength
moving
4?
8. No, strength 3.
Oh,
Yeah, they have different stat lines. Here, I'm going to pull
I
it
was
up.
gonna say the old vampires were strength 4, right?
Yep.
That was
and
their whole thing.
the throwers and blitzers are strength 4. The runners are strength 3. No skills on any of them, except the blitzer has, I think, strip all juggernaut, or maybe just juggernaut.
All right, so vampire teams. The thrower has Hypnotic Gaze, Pass, and Regen, and he is 4/4 2+, basically. Then the blitzer is a 4/4 with a 3+, and then Hypnotic Gaze, Juggernaut, Regen. The runner is a 3/4 with Bloodlust 2+, Regen, and Hypnotic Gaze. And then the Vargeist is a 5/2 with Claws, Frenzy, Regen, Loner, and Bloodlust 3+.
Yep.
Oh, and the runner's speed 8, the rest of them are speed 6, except the Vargeist is speed 5.
So bottom line, when you're playing as vamps, your dice don't matter.
Yeah.
Your decisions almost don't matter. You can make it harder for them, but ultimately they just dodge, Hypnotic Gaze like 4 fucking models a turn, and then blitz your ball carrier. I'm like, well, there's literally nothing I could have done to stop that. Just put me on a fucking tanning bed and fuck me silly.
Yeah,
so they're
the
not
runners. The runners just walk into your cage and then declare Hypnotic Gaze on one of your dudes. And so that he doesn't count, and they're giving you an assist, and then the other guy Hypnotic Gazes the guy on the other corner, and then you blitz them.
And then they Hypnotic Gaze the ball carrier, take away block.
Yeah,
I almost pulled it out. I ended up losing 2-1 after I turned the ball over deep in his half at the end of the second half.
I think the real problem is that 90% of skills don't work when you're knocked down, which is the same terminology as not having tackle zones. And so by Hypnotic Gazing people, they lose all their defensive skills.
Yep. Again, I think Vamps are tier 1 and extremely good. Vamps are quote unquote balanced around the fact that sometimes you're just gonna have a really bad fucking game.
Yeah.
For instance, my opponent rolled I think a fair number of 1s for Bloodlust and ended up having to snack on his thralls, and ended up KOing or removing 0 of them. Okay, that's not statistical, right? And so I focused on killing the remaining thralls because he had 6 vamps and 5 thralls on the field. If you kill all the thralls, the vampires...
That's rough, yeah.
Right? So I'm just like, I'm just going to kill all his thralls. I removed 2, and he removed 0, despite an average number of Bloodlust, which is 1 a turn. Meaning that he's automatically injuring them and removing them on an 8-up. And over 8 turns, removed 0. That is a very statistical, anomalous thing.
I'm also curious if there's a strategy at all in just intentionally not just taking your end turn instead of doing the injury rolls.
Obviously,
absolutely. If you get your important stuff done early enough in the turn, I activated these 3 vamps, they did exactly what they needed to. Now I've got the ball. You fail a bloodlust roll because it doesn't trigger until the end of your activation.
Correct.
And she's like, well, he's just going to walk over here out of danger and end my turn instead of hurting one of my own guys because I don't need to throw 3 random ass blocks.
Yeah, it's a great strat. But my problem is if the Vamps dice work, they win. If the Vamps dice are bad, they fail, and you win. What you do doesn't matter, because it's literally them doing whatever the fuck they want if their dice work out.
Yeah, it's typical, CGR tech, right? It's overpowered thing balanced by RNG. RNG is going to decide your games.
Yeah, so Vamps may not win a tournament because I have a bad game, but that doesn't matter in your game, right? They may just steamroll you. So anyway,
totally agree.
I'll get off my soapbox, but God, that was a tough loss.
Are you off the team now? Is it you keep what you kill?
No.
No, because he's German, or no, because that's not how it works?
Because you can lose games throughout the year and not get auto kicked. I hope.
I don't think that's true. We'll have to follow up.
I'll have to double check with my coach to see if I'm still on the team.
So you were playing Chaos Undivided, you said?
For the tryout tournament, I was, and now for this the Super League that will be going on for the next 6 months or so. I'm playing Undead, Shambling Undead, just to. It's the same rule set, so I wanted a different team to kind of test how I feel each of them will perform.
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that both of these were using the packet for the next year's.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Yep.
So, just out of curiosity, because I remember everybody, what was it? Was it November or October when you came back from the last event and they published the new document? Everybody was freaking out about Amazons
Mhm.
Is that still the freak out, or have people changed and found a new thing to freak out about?
No, Amazons will absolutely be taken by, I'm going to guess 100% of committed teams in this tournament.
Oh, because they all have dodge?
Yeah, the entire team has dodge.
Because they
Well,
changed
it's
the
the same
way
rule
you
for
can.
Norse, though, right?
There are 4 models on Norse who don't have block, and you can't give it to them.
I see.
5
Because
if you take a
Amazons
Yeti.
actually have dodge on
Yeah, they
everybody.
actually have dodge on every single model.
But you still get 4 blodgers. Like,
On
you
Amazon?
still get to... No, on Norse. Both. Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't get blodgers on Norse.
Why not?
Because agility is a secondary skill.
Oh.
Yeah, Norse don't have
On what? Their
agilities.
linemen? What do you take on the Ulforeigners? You can't take
Oh,
block.
no, I definitely
fucking
understand
gotta-
that's an issue.
You're going to wrestle
But
your strength 4 Ulforeigner? That sounds horrible.
I think it's if you went into it going, I'm just not going to take the Ulfhorners because they're bad in this format, but the rest of the team is strong. I think that'd be a fine justification. But obviously, the standard cookie cutter Norse team wouldn't fit in this format. But that's the entire point of the format.
Correct. So I am not a format
Yeah.
hater. I like the format.
Yeah.
I do wish that maybe they'd been a little more specific, if you will, with the tiers. I think Undead and Amazon are like head and shoulders above everything else. And
Yeah.
they'll be on every single team.
What about sorry
Okay,
to disrupt
well,
you.
No,
That's
you're
okay.
fine.
What about Dark Elves and Skaven? Do you think they're impacted at all by this?
Dark Elves are significantly impacted, Skaven less so.
Okay.
Dark Elves cannot take dodge on more than 2 blitzers. So the normal Dark Elf package has dodge on 4 blitzers, probably wrestle on a Witch Elf, and block on a Witch Elf.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot block a Witch Elf, and you cannot dodge 2 of your blitzers.
That's pretty big, yeah.
You
But
also
Skaven only really had their 2 super models anyway.
Yeah, you also don't have enough money to field your normal 12 players and 3 rerolls with Dark Elves. So you have less of your players / rerolls that you would want, and your players aren't kitted out the way you would prefer. Again, I'm all for this format, throwing wrenches and plans. The problem is, like, Undead and Amazons have everything they want. Like, they
Okay.
have 12 to 13 players and 3 rerolls. Ship it.
Tell me why Undead are because I love the is Undead different from Necromancer? They're 2 different
Yes,
factions,
they are
right?
2 different things. Yeah.
Necromantic Horror and Shambling Undead now.
Oh, okay. So because I remember I played
They just changed the
I
names.
played whichever one had werewolves. Which one had werewolves?
Necro.
Okay, I loved Necro because I love
Mhm.
the variety of
Yeah.
models. But tell me why Shambling is unfazed by it. I'm curious.
So Shambling has always been
Diversity.
solid. Shambling comes with 2 players that have block innately, so you get to give it to 2 more.
Is that the whites, right? The whites
Yep,
have
the whites
block.
have block. They get to take 12 players and 3 rerolls with the amount of gold that they're offered, and they get 7 skills. So 12 players, 3 rerolls, 7 skills. Ship it.
They also get really good big guys.
Yep.
And really
guys.
good ghouls.
So there is a standard. They're a standard good team that has no drawbacks from this rule set. Like, this rule set does not negatively impact them because you weren't going to block your mummies because it took 2 skills. So you block 2 ghouls. You give wrestle to a ghoul, and all of a sudden you got 4 block, 1 wrestle, 2 guard. You're like, great, I got my team. We're good.
How many ghouls can you play?
This particular build has 3. I believe 4 is the max.
I see. So you're playing 3 ghouls, 2 block, 1 wrestle, and the 2. I can't remember. They're like Frankenstein monsters, right?
No,
Mummies.
2 mummies, 2
mummies.
whites.
Oh, sorry. Mummies are in this faction. So
Yep.
2
Yeah.
mummies, and both mummies have guard. Is that the idea?
Again,
'Cause
people
they're
can
strength
argue
based.
how they would want to specifically
That's
hit
the
the team,
standard,
but
yeah.
yes.
The
Okay.
base philosophy of, like, give guys their best thing and just run at them.
Yeah, that all sounds great because mummies are fucking fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that Necros are a little bit more of a finesse team than the Shambling are.
Yeah.
But they're both just the cool thing about Undead is you get diverse races within the same team.
Mhm.
And so you can have your move 3 big guy and also your fucking speed 7 dodge dude on the same team, and it all works together. They're all like specialists in their own right.
Yep.
So where
Yeah.
a lot of other teams can feel kind of samey. And so
Right.
the Undead races are really fun for that reason. Same reason the Alliance teams are kind of fun, because you have a diversity of different roles.
Yeah. I love my favorite race in all of the Warhammer Fantasy universe is the Lizardmen. I just think they're really fucking cool because I think the design for them is great. Yeah. But I do not like their Blood Bowl team. I don't know if the modern
exact
one looks
opposite diversity. They have 2 classes on
just
their
like
team.
2
and
guys,
that's all they
right?
do.
And I know they added more kinds of skinks in the newest version, right? They have like a chameleon one or something now.
Yep.
But I do not. I don't know what they do even, but it makes me. I loved Lizardmen in general, but Lizardmen and Blood Bowl always felt so boring because, like you said, 2 things to do. That was it. Go do that.
And it looks like on the Necros they replaced the Ghoul with the White with a Wraith.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I played Necro. That's just durable. I like them a lot.
Yeah, Necros are again. They're very similar teams, right? They're just
they have
different.
Werewolves
they have werewolves. Werewolves are
right, but I mean, just based on like if you were to show it to a new player, they would struggle to see the differences because it's like, well, this still has a bigger guy, and then they still have like ghouls, and then they and still have zombies. You're like, yeah, but like the important things are the differences between them, right?
I had a good question. So it sounds like this new format. The format that's for this year at least is kind of benefiting like smaller groups of specialists within factions. Like if your affiliation has smaller groups that want less, they're going to do better. And if you have lots of samey models, then it doesn't work as well. Is that
it's kind of like anti-spam
not
from
really.
what I've seen.
I mean, like really. Chaos Chosen, which is what I took, has 2 models, period. And I think they're very well suited in this format.
Wait, aren't there 3 models in Beastmen or is...
Beastmen? It's the Beastman lineman.
He's not counting the Minotaur.
I don't count the big guy, but yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
2. You're right. There are 3 models, 3 distinct models you can take.
Yeah, and they changed it now. The Chaos Chosen now can choose their big guy. They can get the Ogre, the Troll, or the Minotaur.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So we played it was just the Minotaur.
So explain, Aaron, how this format doesn't hurt them because I'm curious to know.
So Amazons are tier 1, meaning they get 6 skills. Which you can upgrade to 7 if you give up some gold. But their models are so cheap that they can afford to give up the gold to get the 7th skill and still have 13 players, 3 rerolls. And all their positionals. That's why Amazon are so good. Chaos Chosen are good because they're tier 5, which means they have more gold. They get 10 skills, 12 players, 3 rerolls, including all of their positionals. So both teams are getting everything that they would quote-unquote want. And then you can, with those 10 skills, you can do cool things with your Chaos Chosen. You can give them Claws and Mighty Blow and, Quad Block and a couple of Guard to compensate for the fact that they start out with 0 skills. I'm not saying that they're... Go ahead.
So tier 1 is the least amount of money given?
Correct. Least amount of money and least amount of skills.
Ah.
And there are 5 or 6 teams in tier 1. So yeah, Dark Elves would be amazing if they were tier 5, but they're not. Yeah. They're tier 1 or tier 2. I think they're tier 1. So they're having to cope with not having what they want and still only having 6 skills, which is kind of their normal.
Yeah, for people at home that don't know, basically the higher your tier, the better you are, which means the lower your tier, the bigger your handicap you get, which is you get incentives to play the worst teams to kind of balance them out.
Yep, and your bowl has 6 tiers. Tier 6 being the for funds stunty.
Yeah.
And then tier 1 being your tippy top, need a handicap where they would dominate. And might still dominate.
A good example, I think, is always Black Orcs and Lizardmen, because Lizardmen were the original team. They have a lot of cool things about them, but they're very one-dimensional, right? They've got their 6 medium-sized dudes that hit hard. Then they've got their skinks, which are really weak, but they're crazy fast and hard to catch. And then Black Orcs are the exact same concept, just instead of Saurus, you get Black Orcs. Instead of skinks, you get goblins. But in the game of Warhammer, those models have certain kinds of stat lines that they want to translate to this game. And so like orcs are slower than lizardmen, goblins are slower than skinks. They have different skills. And so because of that, when you translate into the game, they're just objectively worse at playing football. And so to balance that out, they put them into different tiers. And so arguably Black Orcs are just lizardmen but worse. And so because they're worse, you get more skills. And so when you go to a tournament, if you want to play a team with that archetype where you just like, I have some big guys and some small guys, then you can choose to play Lizardmen and have better base models, or you can choose to play Black Orcs and get more skills and more money.
That is correct and eloquent.
I'm really good at talking down to people. Just ask Parker.
The best, really. That and putting words in people's mouths. So
I don't know why you keep saying that. That's not true at all.
I I want you to know, of all the different kinds of Blood Bowls that I've ever heard of, I think the tournament format Blood Bowl is one of the most interesting, because I love the idea that I could own a single set of models, and then every time I wanted to play the game, depending upon what format they were using, it would completely change what actually happens when I'm list building, even though I'm using exactly the same models. I think that's a really cool concept. The problem is you then have to use those models to play Blood Bowl, and that's the part that bothers me. But which I contend, to anyone listening, I contend that Blood Bowl is a good game. It is a good game. It is just not for me. I just really struggle to like it. I would never, ever, ever tell someone not to play Blood Bowl, but I have tried many times, and I cannot bring myself to enjoy it.
The biggest problem I always have with Blood Bowl is that some roles are just vastly more important than other roles, and that you have a limited ability to interact with that mechanic.
Blood Bowl is the quintessential game for which, at any given tournament, the best players will be the ones on the podium. However, being a good player does not mean you will even have a winning record. That kind of makes sense. You could be the best Blood Bowl coach in the room and go 1-2 or 2-4 or whatever the case because of dice. But you're not going to get on the podium without being good. That kind of makes sense. Like there is skill involved. You cannot win without skill, but you also need a really healthy dose of luck, and you have to be able to get past that hump of I made good decisions and still lost, and you're like, yep, it's Blood Bowl.
Yeah, it's the ultimate Picard meme. Is you can commit 0 mistakes and still lose. Like that's exactly how this game works.
Yep.
But I will say that you especially over the long haul, you're going to be very much rewarded for making the right decisions. Because the right decisions are the decisions that reduce randomness. And so, like, hey, you could do these two things. They have the same outcome, but this one has more chaos involved. You're like, fuck that. We're going to do this thing. It's limiting risk is really the game.
It is the ultimate risk mitigation. I call it risk mitigation game.
Yeah, because there's always, like so many of your turns, you're not even trying to win. You're just trying to not fall into a trap. Yeah, I like Blood Bowl as well. The thing that probably keeps me from playing it at tournament level right now is star players. I really hate the way star players are in the game.
Most tournaments ban all the egregious ones and put limitations on taking the other ones, so
yeah,
just pick and choose. Don't go to the tournaments that have no fucking stipulations about them. Because I agree with you.
I just hate it at all when somebody's like entire game plan is I'm going to have star players in my team. You're like, that just ruins the game for me. I don't know why. It just I never used to hate like special characters in games, but like specifically in Blood Bowl, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, it hasn't been an issue since like the first year Blood Bowl 2020 came out, because people had the same opinion you did. They're like, "This is fucking stupid. We don't like this game." So the tournament packs that have come out have greatly reined in the star players because people like to have fun in their games.
That's good. I basically finished my second playthrough of Days Gone. I like that game. It's fun.
Did you start from scratch?
So they have what they call New Game Plus, which is a fairly common mechanic. And it's basically you start the game over with all the upgrades you currently have. So you restart the storyline, but you still have the connections and money and upgrades and weapons you've had from before. Which obviously makes the early stages of the game easier, but it basically what it does is takes you off the rails in the beginning of the game because you don't have the resources or ability to combat some of the larger threats in the game. Because like you'll come across a horde in the early stages of the game, you have absolutely no way to defeat it. It's just run on sight. You have to get away, which you can. Like you have transportation. You can just outrun them in general. It just is annoying when you're like, I need to go to this town and find this person who killed somebody. So I'm like, I have a bounty for him. I'm trying to track him down to bring him back to the place he's wanted for this crime. And so like you go into the town, like, oh, there's a horde here. Well, I just have to leave and come back some other day. Like because I can't fight them at all. And so, but then once you have, recipes to make pipe bombs and Molotov cocktails, and you have a machine gun instead of a pistol, it's a completely different story. And then you can upgrade your stamina and health and all kinds of cool stuff in the game, so you can like actually fight for more than about 20 seconds before your character basically just falls down. But yeah, I really like the blending of, because the beginning of the game is very much survival horror, but it's open world, so you go wherever you want. You don't even have to do quests if you want to. You just wander around, find villages, and like look into what's been going on there. And then there's like a bunch of out ambushes and stuff where people try and knock you out and take your shit and like try and kill you or like eat you depending on what kind of people they are.
PvP or PvE?
It's PvE. There's no multiplayer at all, I think, in the game. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And so I like the survival horror aspect of the beginning of the game where like fighting a zombie is a big deal. And so, and then later on in the game, they've trivialized it because you have such good gear. You have like a military grade machine gun and sniper rifles and all kinds of crazy sawed off shotguns, and like you can easily take stuff out. And then you just start fighting more and more, bigger and bigger hordes. Like there's several boss fights from early in the game when you fight like these big hulking brutes, and then there's these like they call them reachers, but they're basically just methed up zombies that are incredibly fast. They run like 40 miles an hour. So you have no way to get away from them, and they're very tough, but they're not incredibly tough like the big guy is. And so it's kind of like the what's the guy from Left 4 Dead called? The guy that jumps on you. Anybody know?
I do not.
Do not? Okay. Anyway, I think they're called hunters, but anyway, they jump on you, and so like that's basically the reacher. It's like he just comes out from behind a tree and sprints at you at like the speed of a motorcycle, and you're like, oh fuck! And so usually by the time you even get your gun drawn on him, he's already hitting you, and so like that's why he's hard to fight. And then there's like a screecher who they attract other zombies when they yell, but also when they yell it stuns you and drains all your stamina, so you can't run away, and so they're kind of dangerous if you don't know they're there. But yeah, so it's just fun. Like you can also set traps. You can get like landmines and proximity mines and remote bombs and stuff. You can place those around and then try and draw them through choke points where you've set up all your booby traps. But there's also like natural booby traps in the game. Like if there's the one famous horde, which is the biggest horde in the game, is at this old sawmill. And so there's piles of lumber and machinery and a train and all kinds of this cool stuff. It's such a cool interactive environment because you'll like run into this warehouse and you can pull down this like shelf to block the pathway, so then zombies have to flood over it and it slows them down. And then you run by a stack of logs and you cut the cord as you run by, and then it collapses and crushes them. And so there's all kinds of cool stuff like that you can do, which makes the game way more interesting. And so on the replay, it's usually just experiencing more of that stuff I didn't get to do the first time.
Cool. I'm glad you're liking it.
I decided to finally, or rather, my friends and I finally decided to stop dicking around with quick play and Marvel Rivals and start playing the competitive tiers.
Oh shit. Ranked Rivals, baby.
Ranked Rivals. And I now can't go back to quick play. And the thing that happened that really surprised me is that just the other day I was like, maybe I'll just play a quick play game because I was waiting for them to log in. And as soon as I got in, everybody in the lobby was so wildly different in abilities. So there was like a Wolverine who was just wrecking everybody's face, right? And then, but they had put on their team, even though they had a Wolverine that was amazing, both their healers were just literally running around in circles, just like shooting random objects. And so it's like, and the
team that gets the less complete oblivious players wins.
Right. And so it was such a wildly bad like batch of people, and I was like, this is like, I remember this is like what we played with. And so a lot of times the quick play games will end in like 3 or 4 minutes, whereas ranked games never do. Even though I like the pace of Marvel Rivals, in ranked games they commonly go to like 20 to 30 minutes because both teams are actively comparable and they're working hard and they're doing
engaged.
Well.
They're not like making huge mistakes that cost their team.
Yeah, they're and I'm nearly platinum, which is not fantastic. It's like 70% of players are, 30% of players are platinum or above. So it's not like a crazy high tier. But I am really having fun doing the competitive stuff because I am winning about 50% of games. It's I feel like I'm getting close to my limit because now I'm starting to play against players and I'm just like, wow, I had nothing to do with my choice of like what I was like, my choice of character or my strategy. They just outplayed me there. Like mechanically they did a better job than I did. But sometimes I do the opposite where I just like, that guy just got outplayed by me. They didn't realize what I was doing and they had no way to counter it in their skill set, having nothing to do with what their character can do. They didn't do it right. And so it's a really fun set. Also, quick update, I bought my Captain America skin from Infinity War. It's so much fucking fun. Just the other day I got an MVP game and when I was solo queuing in ranked, and when my friends logged on, I was like, I think in my current life there is nothing more satisfying than punching people in the head as Captain America. There's just something like running directly at somebody and then just punching them directly in the face multiple times is just so satisfying. The sound effects of the game are perfect. So I just like boom, pap, pap, boom, boom. And the way the Captain America works is after you do a certain number of melee hits, you then start throwing your shield at them. And so it's boom, boom, pap, pap, and then the bang, bong, bing, bing, bong, like it starts bouncing off of their head. Oh, that sound is just so satisfying. And
Parker, I'm
it's
going
so
to
much
have
fun.
to suggest that you have more coitus. If the thing that is most satisfying to you in all of life right now is bing, bing, boing, boing, you have a couple fucking issues.
It's just so much fun. It's just so
Okay.
much fun.
Okay. Is there a pick ban process to the ranked?
No,
once
that's
once you get to a certain level.
there is a pick ban.
Yes.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
I want to play ranked now.
So at the lowest level of ranked, no. Like where I'm at, no. I think.
Oh. Wait, you have to get above platinum to get ranked to get pick ban?
Let me look. A win.
I only ask because my only analogous experience is with Heroes of the Storm, which my kids and I still play. And what you're talking about, well, kind of. The environment, the player environment has a toxicity level of 98.
Yeah. No, MOBAs generally do, unfortunately.
My daughter just introduced her boyfriend to it, and he's playing with her. He's obviously a new player, and like he's getting death threats while playing.
I bet.
He's like, "Dude, go home and choke yourself." Like, and he's just like, "Oh my god."
I'll mail you a toaster. You're like, oh god, leave me alone.
Yeah, it's just ranked isn't even better because you're playing ranked, and they're like, "Go back to quick game" or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
there was a go ahead.
As I say, I just looked it up. There are pick bans in Marvel Rivals. It starts in Platinum, which is the 4th rank. So
there's no wood.
So it's gold. It's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Everybody. Oh, sorry. Did I say platinum? It starts in diamond. Sorry, which is the 5th rank. So bronze, silver, gold, platinum, then diamond.
Was it like 10% of players even get to experience pick ban? If that.
Let's see. What percentage of players are in diamond?
Well, keep in mind, I would say most players don't even play ranked.
It says... Oh, shit. It's a lot less than that.
Yeah, no, it's factors, yeah.
Yeah. So it's only like 3% of players.
Sorry,
no, more like 5% of players are playing in diamond or above, yeah.
Is that of ranked players or players in general?
Of ranked players.
Okay, so that's probably closer to 1%.
It says, above. Say in February, about 4% of Marvel Rivals players were in Diamond Rank or higher.
Might have them in there then. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Mojoverse for today, or else we're gonna run out of time. All right, so this week we're doing 360 games. So we're gonna pick of our favorite franchises of the 360. Or any game that was playable on Xbox 360. Pulling up last week's voting. I was surprised I won. And also, people gave me shit for picking Rubik's Cube, so fuck you guys.
Yeah, they were really mad about that. I don't understand why that was.
Apparently people like the Rubik's Cube, though, and also Legos was like, I don't know how you guys didn't first pick Legos.
It's not my fault you guys had fucked up childhoods that didn't include the Ewok Village and Care Bears.
Yep. I just built those out of my Legos. Legos was really like the first 3D printing, if you think about it. Anyway. Okay, so Aaron, you get first pick for Xbox 360 games.
First pick for Xbox 360 games. We absolutely have to go with the game that gave me my first ever call sign, and that's Halo.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, trust me, I wasn't taking yours if that wasn't yours.
Okay.
All right, so Aaron gets Halo. Good job.
Hold on, I have a backstory.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what is this call sign thing?
So I used to be back in the early 2000s, like early. I was part of a group that would get together in like once a week. And now you could just have Wi-Fi parties, but back then you had to actually have a LAN party where it was a dedicated LAN, and the guy had it connected in his house to where he had 8 different TVs in different rooms of his house, all connected via a LAN.
No screen peeking.
Right, and Xboxes, so everyone could play Halo independently while, drinking beer and having snacks at a LAN party Halo event. So I did that for 3 years, maybe even 5. I was there for a while. And I got the initial call sign Satan because I was pretty fucking good at killing people.
Satan.
Yeah. So anyway, there's my Halo story. And it's
a good story.
It's my number 1.
How many LAN parties have you been to, Parker?
Let me think.
He's thinking.
Does this count? Does this count like shops and stores that we've been to
No.
that have their LAN also?
Someone's house.
Someone's house.
No, because or else it's just a business. You went to a LAN center. That's different. I've been to many LAN centers.
Yeah.
Although I do remember when there was several LAN centers in Kansas City where you could go, they would have computers set up, and you would have to log into your game on their computer.
Yeah, and it was.
And then sometimes they'd have stations where you could bring your own PC from home and just plug it into their peripherals.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say total parties like ever in my life. Probably only like it's got to be less than 10. Like.
So you did go and you would hook up multiple systems together.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just you went over and you played GoldenEye with a friend on their 64.
No. I did that. I did that a lot more. But
yeah,
no, in terms of actual like LAN parties,
like we brought multiple systems, multiple TVs, LAN party. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've only done it once.
I was gonna say I think I've done
StarCraft 2.
I was gonna say it was 5 or I want to say like 5 or 6 times. It was always the same guy's house. Kid in high school.
Yeah, I went to a friend's place. Friend invited me to the LAN party at his friend's house, and we did 8-on-8 StarCraft on LAN. That was crazy. I just kept donating my troops to another guy. I would just like pump out Marauders and just donate them to another player so they could control them, and I would just like trying to build an efficient machine in the back corner. Then the other team decided to do that, and they started sending battle cruisers at us. It's just like because they just had everyone individually like getting the resources for a battle cruiser, and then they would just funnel them all to one player. It's like, God damn it.
In college, we used to play Quake by connecting our computers via Ethernet cables through the windows outside, like pass cables outside to the neighboring one, and be able to play Quake that way. Fucking youth
all
today.
Those losers out there going to frat parties when they could have been hucking Cat 5 across the neighborhood.
Realized my college experience was much different than anything else,
probably different.
So. No frat parties, period.
Alrighty, Parker, your first pick.
Not close, because this happens to be my favorite video game of all time. I don't think it'll ever be topped. The Mass Effect trilogy. Mass Effect was amazing. Is amazing.
I watched my friend play Mass Effect 3, I think it was, for 2 weeks. I never saw him do anything other than shoot a probe at a planet. And he went, pew! And then, like, resource counts would show up. That's all he did for weeks. That's all I ever saw him do. I was like, are you done? Can I watch Gundam Wing now? Like, get off the computer, get off the TV. He's like, you're not even doing anything. He's like, I'm doing stuff. Like, you're not doing anything. You probed this fucking planet 3 times already.
Those 3 games are the only games that I ever like completed everything. Like every side quest, every relationship piece, like with an NPC, every like Easter egg, every fucking planet.
They have a big fan following.
Yeah. It's also the only game that I never like read anything about or watched a video or prepped for. Like I just played the game and just spent forever exploring every corner.
All right. So that's going to get to my back-to-back picks on the back end. I'm going to take, with my first overall pick, Left 4 Dead. I love Left 4 Dead, but specifically multiplayer Left 4 Dead was amazing. And this was right when Xbox would actually let you connect with people online and play, over the internets without LAN. And so that was the first time I ever got to the point where a lot of people had this for a big portion of my life. Like, as soon as you get off work, go into your living room, turn on your Xbox, you jump on Xbox Live, you're like, who's ready to go? And there's always several people already waiting to play. And it's just like, let's fucking do it. And you just jump in. It's like, all right, we're going to do this map. And we probably tried playing the No Mercy map on the hardest difficulty 25 times in a row, and we kept dying right before the helicopter got there. We were so mad. Anyway, that's super fun. And then again, multiplayer Rock Band. You go Guitar Hero or Rock Band here. I do Rock Band because it encouraged more people playing at the same time usually. But yeah, Rock Band, like it was I don't know if you remember when Guitar Hero first came out, but it was like that's all people did. I think the world stopped while everyone played Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it was an amazing game.
Yeah, it was instant sensation. It's like Squid Game. Everybody had seen it. Like everyone has Rock Band at home. Like you go to somebody's house, you're like, all right, well this party's kind of dying down. You want to play Rock Band? They're like, I don't have that. And you're like, you just leave immediately. Like I'm going somewhere else then. Like get the fuck out of here. Okay, Parker, you're up.
This is really hard, like choosing a kid, because the only one that is automatic is Mass Effect. So I'm gonna go with my second one is I'm gonna go with Fallout 3. Love me some Fallout 3, and I really wish I could pick all of the ones on my list, but I'm gonna go with Fallout 3.
Yeah,
I got a lot of honorable mentions here. We'll see how many you guys pick.
Yeah, I never got to really play the Fallout games. I finally got New Vegas on my computer, but I haven't really played it much. I usually, as always, I don't have time to play through the whole game, and so after like 2 weeks of trying, I only have like a little bit of accomplishment. And I just quit. All right, Aaron, got your final two.
I have the slam dunk, then I'm debating on the other one. I could take the popular pick or the Aaron pick.
Take the Aaron pick.
The Aaron pick? Okay, the Aaron pick is Army Men Sarge's War.
Good choice. I like that.
It is, and again, this is like 20-year-old brain, right? But hilarious, making your little, army men march across the field and do all the things you needed them to do. And
I think I played that.
You very well might have, but it gets a nod just on theme. For my third pick is the actual best Xbox game ever made, and that is Fusion Frenzy. Are you laughing because you agree, or just
I love that fucking game. Oh,
my wife.
I
Go ahead.
I can never hear Fusion Frenzy. Like that's some of the most amazing. One of the characters had this terrible catchphrase he would do all the time.
Zach's in the back. Act back.
That's it.
I know it is. My wife and I can still quote all those characters. It was amazing because there were like 50 mini games, and you ran a tournament, and you didn't know which ones you were going to get. And each mini game was about a minute long, so you could play a tournament with up to 4 players and just have a fucking blast. Because some of them are you against, against PvE, and some are just like you straight up bashing the other players in like a 4v4 or a free for all, with various mini games. It was like American Gladiators met, I don't know what the fuck. Best game in the history of gaming.
Nice.
Done. Mic drop.
All right, Parker, you got your final pick. I only have 2 things left on my list, but that's enough. So you can pick whatever you want.
I have 6, and this is really tough. I'm going to go with one that I've played so many of the games, and this is my favorite one: Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That's the pirate one. It's the best pirate sim ever made, and it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be an Assassin's Creed game, but it just also happened to be the best pirate sim ever. And 2 things at once, yes, please.
That was also my next pick, but that's fine.
No shit?
Yeah. No, I mean Assassin's Creed 1 because that's the one I played. I actually only bought the 360 originally for Assassin's Creed 1. And it did not disappoint. It was a great game.
Yeah.
Again, great iconic franchise. So, but I do like how they keep reinventing it with it's nice that it's got not just same note, right? Like it's not just the same thing over and over again. They at least changed it a little bit. Like you said, the Black Flag one was like it's basically Pirate Simulator in the Assassin's Creed universe, which is cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to leave me with the last one on my list, which I'm going with not just for gameplay, but also because of, I think a lot of us will understand why, but Space Marine. It's not just because it's a tabletop game put into a video game, which is a great premise that I would like to see more of done well. And it's not just because the campaign was really true to the lore. And it's not just because the game looked great or it had good multiplayer. It's like it had all of that. It had no right to have any of it, right? It was like a small studio release compared to like what it is nowadays. Like they didn't miss on that game. The whole game was fucking great. The lore was accurate. The characters were fun and interesting. It's a great introduction for somebody who had never played or known about 40K in general. Jump right into the universe and everything feels so realistic. It was great. And so I would like to see more of that. And obviously Space Marine 2 is out. I haven't played it yet, but yeah. Very pleasant surprise back in the day when it dropped.
Yeah.
It might even have a lot to do with why 40K got its resurgence in like 8th edition, because that game came out a few years later. There's a huge push of people coming into the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I stare at Space Marine 2 all the time. I'm waiting for it to go on, like, I need to just be a little bit cheaper because I think it's really, I don't know if I'm going to like it enough for it to be as expensive as it is, but I'm excited for it to be just a little bit cheaper, and I'm doing it, and I'll put it on the list of things to do eventually.
Yeah, for me, until recently, I haven't really devoted the time to video games. I've been busy with other stuff, and so the last few months I've really made a push, because I miss playing video games, and I finally got I cut out some time on my schedule to actually play video games again, and I've been very much enjoying it. But yeah, I will probably try Space Marine 2 at some point. I'm not a big fan of the current lore of 40K. Just like, it's not the lore. It's not my nostalgia, so I'm not pumped for it like a lot of people are. But yeah, I'll probably give it a try at some point when it's on sale. Okay. All right, well, that's all we're going to have for you guys this week. Hopefully you had fun listening to us ramble. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to Xbox 360 Games.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.